10 minutes a day of doing some hand-picked piezo poses to slow down your bone loss or even reverse it to actually gain bone. That's pretty cool. According to Wolff's law, bones will adapt to the loads or forces under which it is placed. If the load increases, the bone will remodel itself to resist the load. If the load decreases, the bone will become weaker. The reduction in stimulus causes bone loss, resulting in osteoporosis. The cool thing about yoga is that's what it's all about. It's opposing forces pulling on the muscles, pulling on the bones, which stimulate bone osteocyte production. There's a lot of research that's been done, and along with strength training and impact type sports, yoga is up there as one that can help reverse the osteoporosis. Such good news. Researchers agree that 12 to 72 seconds to hold a pose for 12 to 72 seconds is about right for stimulating that growth, depending on where you are in the continuum. It needs to be a challenge. It needs to be like a stress on the system, because then the bone says, oh, we need to be stronger. We need to be building bone instead of breaking down bone, which is what happens as we age. So I've created this sequence to incorporate the 3 forces that seem to help bone growth. Torsion, which is like twisting actions. Tensile forces, which is stretching, pulling on the bones when the muscles stretching. And compressive forces, which like single leg balances, where gravity's pressing down, weight is bearing down on the bones. So if you're just starting out, shoot for 12 seconds if that feels like a challenge to you, and then work your way up, all the way up to 72 seconds. Today we'll be holding our poses for 30 seconds, and I generally think that's about 5 deep breaths. So that's kind of how I will measure the time today. It won't be exact. Hopefully it'll be close. So let's begin. We're going to start on our bellies. You might want a chair. A couple blocks might work for you, depending on where you're at. The first exercise we're going to do is cobra, and this will work on the spine. Okay, so taking your fingers out, either like by your shoulders, either inside the mat or outside the mat. And you can pad yourself across the hips if that feels better with a blanket or something. But we're just going to inhale, kind of tuck the tailbone so it doesn't bother the low back, and then hold that. And you can either hover your hands to create more work for the spine, the muscles of the spine, or you can lightly just place your hands down. Let's do 3 more deep breaths. One more good breath. And exhale and rest. Kind of wiggle it out. Then I'm going to show you locust pose. You can add more reps on these, or again, more time if you want to. But locust pose, we're going to take a nice inhale breath and exhale. And then lift all 4 limbs. And if that bothers your back, then just place your feet down. Otherwise, create a nice full back body work. 3 more deep breaths. Feel yourself rise and fall. Good. And rest in crocodile and kind of wiggle things out. And then we're just going to turn over for bridge pose. I'm going to show you two variations of bridge. One is just pretty typical, tickling the back of the feet, measuring that. Take a nice inhale and exhale to release tension, and then inhale and lift up the hips. I like to kind of walk my shoulder blades together and then just press through the feet while you lift through the hips. Doesn't matter how high you go, just so it's creating a challenge for those muscles. Those muscles are working on the bones. Those bones are building. So take 3 more breaths here. And release. And if it feels good, to give yourself a little hug as you take a few seconds to release that tension, and then come back to that bridge state. This time we're going to add our arms, and we're going to inhale the hips up and then clasp the hands behind and push the hands, compress the hands to the ground, which helps you get maybe a little bit higher. And then we're going to do 3 more breaths. And then go ahead and release. And maybe if it feels good to release, doing a little windshield wipers. That's a favorite way of releasing tension for me. And then we're going to turn over and come up onto our hands and knees and prep for down dog. So wide fingers, tuck the toes, and lift up. So in order of what we would say frequency of bones breaking, the spine and the hips and the femur top the list. Femurs top the list. And number 4 is wrists. So down dog is excellent for building strength in the muscles and the bones. Let's take 2 more breaths. We're going to sweep up the leg and exhale to plant. And then inhale, you can either take your arms up or you can put them on your hands. Or if you want to have a chair close by, you can do it that way too, which is a wonderful idea. Whatever seems like a good challenge to you. Let's take 3 more breaths. Extending through the spine, keeping that back leg straight and strong. And then on our next exhale, we're going to spin it into Warrior 2. Relax your shoulders, but then keep that knee from falling in, and we take 4 more breaths. Looking over that finger, really focusing fingers. 2 more breaths. And remember, you can adjust the time to be easier or harder. So I'm going to straighten my leg, and I'm going to grab a block for triangle pose that will look like that. Or I can use a chair. So choose what works for you, and then inhale and exhale. A complete just side body bend. So if it's hard to get very low, you can use different heights of the block. Whatever works for you. Just try not to bend forward at the waist. One more breath. Good, and here's a challenge pose for you. You can, again, either use the chair or the block. You're gonna hop that back foot up, and I'll show you with the chair this time, and just lift up for half moon. So this is what it looks like with the block. Hand under the shoulder. It's a little bit harder to balance. Let's take 3 more breaths. Again, we're totally sideways. Oh, I'm falling. Good. And then bring it down. Come back to the center and just kind of hula hoop those hips out. Taking nice deep breaths there. And then the other direction. Then I'm going to change this to this side and return to down dog. Stretch it out, get all centered. It feels good to come back to center. And now we're going to take the left leg up and exhale to plant. And inhale. That's your first breath. Two more breaths. And then spin into warrior 2. And now we're just going to hang out here, taking some more deep breaths. Keep the core engaged, remembering that the core gets stronger with deeper breaths. You just kind of have to shift the breath upward a little bit so the abdominal muscles can hold things nice and tight. One more breath here. And then we're going to lift and twist, so torsion forces, and twist and lift into triangle. And then just get wide and expansive. Breathe. 3 more deep breaths. Feel the forces going down the legs, building bone. One more breath. Good, and then we're just going to keep that shape. I'm going to move my chair forward a little bit and use the block this time and lift that back leg, keeping the block, or you can reach for the floor if you need more challenge. I'm going to put that down one. And lift up and breathe. Trying to keep kind of the same shape as that triangle, but it's much more difficult. If you fall, just bring it back up. 2 more breaths. Deep breathing definitely challenges kind of and helps the balance at the same time. Exhale and bring it down. Woo, and do a little forward fold. Lift it up, hinging at the hips, and again, little bit of hula hoops. Pretending like you have a hula hoop. Okay, I'm going to face my chair again. And I'll show you one one way to do warrior three and then the other. Sweep the arms up on the inhale and then exhale into chair pose. Feet are parallel, facing forward. Hips go back, maybe a little bit of tuck of the tail. Second breath. Two more breaths. Good. We're going to plant the hands down on the chair or two blocks and then lift the right leg up for warrior three. Now this is a great way to do warrior three with the chair, or again you can have hands on blocks, or for the most challenge, keeping the most weight on the standing leg, you would just do no hands. But you can see I'm tired, so I'm going to do hands. Take one more breath. Bring that leg down. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Trying to keep some length in that spine. Inhale, up. Exhale, chair. Second breath. Tuck your tail a little bit if that bothers your back. Third. Two more breaths. And then we can plant on the blocks or the hands, and then standing on the other leg, sweep that one up. This is a favorite one for bone building. Two more. And release. And kind of wiggle that out, maybe a little halfway lift, bring it up. And we're going to just return back to the mat. Move that chair out of the way and stretch things out through the hips. And then come to your back. And we'll just release that tension that we've built up with a little bit of windshield wipers or happy baby, which looks like this, which is really nice after those single balance exercises. Or you could do, I like to call this happy cobbler. Just kind of spin the ankles out, knees to chest. Whatever works for you, this is the time to unwind from your daily dose of bone growth. Keep it up. Namaste. Remember Wolff's Law. Use it so you don't lose it.